What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Weekly GCap, the only source you'll ever need to catch up on all the gaming news from the last week. As always, we got quite a couple stories to go through, so let's go ahead and get right into this. First things first, and oh man, we're kicking things off with a interesting start, we'll say. There was a port of Red Dead Redemption that was announced for the Switch and the PS4, and oh man, let's go ahead and talk about everything that is wrong with this port. First things first, do you want to know something funny? Even after this port comes out, which by the way, it's going to be coming out August 17th at the prime price of $50. There was a lot of people that are maybe rightfully mad that this isn't a full-on remaster or remake, though I would argue after everything that happened with the GTA Definitive Edition, would you guys really want a remake of Red Dead Redemption? Me personally, I don't know, man. I'm kind of fine with just a port at that point or like a slight remaster, but that's the thing. They're not even really doing a slight remaster. Like, some games come to mind. Let's think like Darksiders. You know how they did the port from Xbox 360 and PS3 to the newer consoles? It was like 4K, 60 FPS, you know, that type of thing. Like, they've been doing that for a bunch of games. Well, they didn't even do that for this game. So on the Switch, you know, it'll be running at like 1080p 30 in docked mode, 720p 30 in handheld mode. That's about what you would expect. But that's going to be the exact same specifications that it's going to be running at on the PS4 and the PS5. 1080p, 30 FPS on the PS4, 4K, 30 FPS on the PS5. You're telling me not the PS4 or the PS5 can handle 60 FPS 1080p on Red Dead Redemption? I'm not sure about that. You want to know why? Because the Series X is backwards compatible with the 360 version of Red Dead Redemption, and guess what? It runs at 4K 60 FPS, no problem. This is just an absolute travesty. If you want to throw 50 bucks at this for your Nintendo Switch, go for it. If you want to throw 50 at it for your PlayStation 4, I'd probably question your motives, but at the same time, Red Dead Redemption isn't available readily, like, on the PlayStation 4, so I guess go for it. There's not even a Series X version of this release, and there's not a PS5 version of it either, or an Xbox One. It's just PS4 and Switch. Yeah, it's a really confusing release. It's something, alright. Everybody was getting really excited about a potential Red Dead Redemption remaster, just because there was a bunch of leaks coming out, but, this definitely isn't that. Next up, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 was announced. They only dropped like a couple short teasers. We had like a 40-second teaser, and then they dropped like a 2-minute trailer just kind of like showing off the new Makarov actor and voice actor and such. And yeah, the game looks great. We don't know much else about the game yet. There's going to be like a full worldwide event reveal thing happening in a week from the time that I'm recording this, August 17th. Obviously, once that happens, we'll talk about it. We'll cover it here on the show. I don't know if we're going to get to cover it next week because that's going to be on the exact same day that I normally record these episodes. So it might not be until the following week, but eventually we will get to it and we will cover it. Also, for those of you that are interested, text the number 202-918-3022. Text them the word ready. That's the only thing you need to type. Just type ready and then follow their instructions from there. I already did it. It's tied into the whole Modern Warfare 3 reveal thing, and yeah, it's pretty cool. Next up, Killer Instinct will be getting a 10th anniversary update, which this is pretty cool. For those of you that don't know, things have been a little dormant with Killer Instinct for a while. Just, you know, some issues behind the scenes when it comes to, you know, actually getting a developer to continue working on Killer Instinct stuff. But thankfully, it seems like things are finally moving behind the scenes, and we have an update coming up for Killer Instinct, the one from 2013. So this coming from the Killer Instinct Twitter account, quote, "Our friends at Iron Galaxy are back, and together we're bringing you Killer Instinct's free 10th anniversary update later this year, including a balance update, improved matchmaking, and 4K support for Series X and S. More info coming soon," end quote. I am super excited for this. I absolutely love that guy. I love Killer Instinct, period, but the most recent one was really good. I do hope that we could see some more from this franchise, hopefully soon. And for those of you that don't know, the most recent one, which came out like almost 10 years ago at this point, is actually free to play. So if you want to try it, you can just go download it on your Xbox, and yeah, you can play it. Next up, we got another TMNT crossover. We just talked about one like, what, a week or two ago with the skating game, but now we got a TMNT crossover with Street Fighter 6. There's gonna be like the turtles themselves as playable characters, and then there's like some accessories and different like customization pieces you can get, like masks for your characters and such. You can wear like the turtles masks on like Ryu, for example, and then there's like different emotes and stuff. It looks pretty awesome, though it is worth noting that somebody did the math online and it costs over like $100 some to get all the things in this DLC. I don't know if maybe there's a season pass you can get instead, but yeah, that's a little expensive, but at the same time, it's the turtles. I mean, nothing justifies that price point, but at the same time, I'd suggest maybe getting at least, you know, maybe one little cosmetic, maybe one character if you're into this game, because it's the turtles, man. Real quick, I apologize if my audio levels are all over the place in this video. As I was recording, I found the reason why my mic has sounded so blown out in these last couple episodes, and it was because my gain on my microphone was actually much higher than it should have been, so I've had my microphone really far away to make up for that, but now I'm trying to, like, readjust it, because I've been, like, messing around with my Audacity stuff. It's also led to me, like, yelling a bit more in this episode than I would like, so then it actually picks up my audio properly. I know this is so unprofessional, I apologize. Next up, Baldur's Gate 3 finally released after 23 years. Baldur's Gate 2 released back in September of 2000, and Baldur's Gate 3 just came out within the last week. And one thing worth noting is that this is the highest rated game of 2023. It is sitting at a 97 on Metacritic, one above Zelda Tears of the Kingdom's 96. So I think Baldur's Gate 3 could potentially be Game of the Year material. Will it win? I don't know. I think Tears of the Kingdom may win, but Baldur's Gate 3 will definitely be in the running if it doesn't win. And for our next story, WrestleQuest was delayed, which is really unfortunate. I was actually really looking forward to this one, man. This coming from their Twitter. An update to our fans. See you in the ring August 22nd. Mega Cat Studios and Skybound Games announced today that WrestleQuest will now be launching August 22nd across all platforms. When performing final checks on one of our launch platforms, we discovered it was possible for players to lose or save game progress when playing WrestleQuest on multiple different devices. Yeah, that's not good. Because this is a game filled with hours of content, and player progress is so important we could never body slam our fans like that. I'm sorry, that was just funny. You know, it's a wrestling game, body slam. Yeah, anyway, we are truly proud of this game and believe that we have a product that delivers on all counts. We're blown away by the support we've seen from players excited for WrestleQuest. Thank you all. We'll see you in the ring August 22nd. Obviously, it's unfortunate, but, you know, you wouldn't want to get your hands on the game because this is an RPG after all. So you wouldn't want to get like 15, 20 hours of the game and just lose all your progress because you decided to play on another platform. So, yeah, it's only like 2 weeks to get, not even 2 weeks away. By the time that this video goes up, it's literally only 11 days. Super excited for this one still. I'll still be picking it up. One thing I wanted to highlight real quick, 8-Bit Do, I think is how you say 8-Bit Do, whatever. They released an adapter for the PS1 and PS2. Basically, you plug this adapter into your PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2 controller port, and it allows you to use more modern controllers with it, because obviously getting official first-party controllers, there's no way to actually do that nowadays from a commercial standpoint. Sure, there's the secondhand market on eBay and such, and they're still reasonably priced, but going forward, this is just good for, you know, accessibility's sake. But anyway, the controllers that are supported are DualShock 4, DualSense Edge, Xbox One Series, Elite Series 2, Elite Series 2 Core and adaptive controllers, Wii U Pro and Switch Pro controllers, 8-Bit Do Ultimate Bluetooth Pro 2, SN3D Pro Plus, SN30 Pro, SN3D Pro for Android, Lite 2, Lite SE and Lite controllers, arcade stick, PS1 mod kit, and PS1 Classic mod kit. There's some commas in some weird places, so I wasn't exactly sure how I was supposed to like sound that out and say it, if you know what I mean. But anyway, yeah, those are the controllers that are compatible. So if this interests you, it's going for $25. I'd highly recommend picking it up just in case, you know, obviously. And the PS2 and the PS1 have been out for over 2 decades at this point, almost 3 decades for the PS1. So obviously controllers over time, wear and tear, they're going to break down, they're going to stop working. Would be really handy to have one of these on deck just in case you need to use a PS4 controller on your PS1 or PS2 if that's your only option. Another thing I wanted to highlight is that Valve has started selling refurbished Steam Decks. So normally the Steam Deck goes for about $400 for the cheapest model, but now you can get that same model for $320, which at that point, if you're deciding between like a Switch OLED or a Steam Deck, objectively speaking, the Steam Deck is a better deal just because it's only $320, whereas like an OLED Switch is still like $350. I mean, that's a really good deal. Granted, it is refurbished, so please do be careful. And they're doing a bit of a cross thing with GameStop, where GameStop is going to be selling refurbished Steam Decks as well. And when you buy a refurbished Steam Deck from either Valve or GameStop, you get a warranty on that Steam Deck, but the warranty from GameStop doesn't work with Valve and vice versa, if that makes any sense. And then the thing is, the refurbished Steam Decks at GameStop is the one refurbishing them, and if you know anything about GameStop's refurbishing process, if I were you, I would not buy it from GameStop. Go to Valve directly, get the refurbishment systems from them. They even said in one of their posts that, you know, all the refurbished systems they put out, they are professionally tested, they are thoroughly cleaned, and, you know, any parts that are broken are 100% replaced. Like, it's basically like getting a new system. So honestly, why not save the $80 and just get a refurbished thing? I mean, for me personally, when I do get a Steam Deck, I am going to get a brand new model. But that being said, if you're, you know, if you're a little bit strapped on cash, or if you want a cheaper alternative, this is definitely a great way to do it. Another thing I wanted to highlight, this is more of like a story type thing, so I'm just going to kind of read this out to you guys. But anyway, Avowed was originally going to be a multiplayer game. If you remember, it was announced a couple of years ago, it was looking a little interesting, looked like a good game, but then it went back in the oven for a couple of years and only recently got re-announced. Well, that's because it was going from being a multiplayer live service game into a normal single player game. This coming from Games Radar, quote, as revealed in part 5 of Obsidian's 20th anniversary documentary, Avowed was almost a very different game as its developers wanted it to have a multiplayer aspect at one point. When I look back at 20 years, there's decisions of mine that I feel really good about, and there's decisions that I feel not so good about. Fergus Urquhart, I think is how you say it, Obsidian studio head, says in the documentary, one of the things where I really pushed was that Avowed was going to be multiplayer. Urquhart adds, sorry, I really don't know how to say that last name, and I kept on that for a long time, and I think in the end, I know, in the end, it was the wrong decision to keep on pushing on it. The studio founder explains that at the time, Obsidian was still an independent studio, and it wanted to sell it as a more interesting game to publishers. When you're asking for 50, 60, 70, even $80 million, you've got to have something interesting to talk about, and multiplayer made it interesting, Urquhart continues. It wasn't just the studio's founder that had things to say about Avowed's possible multiplayer. Justin Britch, I think is how you say it, head of development at Obsidian, talked more about the studio's decision to change Avowed to a single-player RPG. We were too focused on co-op, and we were too focused on changing the way our pipelines work, and the way that we write conversations, and the way we would do quests, and everything else. Britch continues, after working on it for a little bit, we realized that we weren't focused on the things that we're best at, so we made a pivot on the game basically to refocus really and make sure that it was, at the end of the day, an Obsidian game and not something different, end quote. I don't have too much to add to this. I can understand where they're coming from. They were more of an independent studio at the time, and when you're pitching a game to these big publishers and you're asking for the amounts of money that they were, between like 50 to 80 million dollars, yeah, when you say that there's going to be multiplayer elements, live service elements, potential for long-term profit and gain, it will make that product look much more appetizing to the publishers, because that means long-term revenue outside of the initial $60 to $70 asking price. But they definitely made the right decision here, and, this is just, it's a very admirable story, and I'm hoping that more developers can kind of see stuff like this and maybe follow in that footprint, because obviously we have some games that went back in the oven, like Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, where originally it was going to be a multiplayer live service game, and it's still kind of going to be like that, but they're reworking some things, I guess. I'm not exactly sure what's going on there, but I don't know, this whole live service multiplayer gaming thing, I miss when games were games. I miss when games were they were just trying to be good. You know what I mean? Like, I get it, games need to make money, but at the same time, like, I don't know, get your priorities straight. Just make a good product first, worry about the money later. I know for the publishers and the bigger companies, they need to worry about the money because, they need to make a return on investment. I understand that, but at the same time, like, we just want good games. We don't care about live services and roadmaps. At least I don't. I don't want one game to play for the rest of my life, you know what I mean? Because that's what these games try to do. They try to be one game that you can play for the rest of your life, essentially, just continually drip feeding content and keeping you in this constant, like, carrot on a stick mentality where they got the carrot on the stick and you just gotta hopelessly chase them, hoping to to receive the product, the idea that you were sold. Because when you're buying a live service game, you're not buying a game, you're buying an idea, and you're constantly chasing that carrot on the stick of hopefully receiving the idea one day, and really, you never do with any of these live service games just because of how they're built. So yeah, this was a really nice story, and it just made me happy that Avowed changed course, because oh god, this really could have been like the next Babylon's Fall if things didn't play in Obsidian's favor. Got some updates on the subscription services, as always. So there was 2 new games added to Nintendo Switch Online, those being Pokemon the Trading Card Game for Game Boy and Pokemon Stadium 2 on Nintendo 64. So I highly recommend downloading that update and giving those games a shot. Those games are absolutely fantastic, especially Pokemon the Trading, well, I shouldn't say especially, both these games are great, but Pokemon the Trading Card Game, such an underrated gem. I know it's crazy to say underrated when talking about Pokemon, but compared to the other Pokemon games, barely anyone ever talks about this one. This one was fantastic. Please do give it a shot. Then we also got the August PS Plus Extra and Premium games. These will be available August 15th, except for one, which that is Sea of Stars, which is coming August 29th. That is a day 1 release, so it will be coming to Xbox, Game Pass, and PS Plus on the same day. And then the rest of the games are as follows: Dreams, Moving Out 2, Destiny 2, The Witch Queen expansion, Lost Judgment, Destroy All Humans 2 Reprobed, 2 Point Hospital Jumbo Edition, Source of Madness, Curse to Golf, PJ Masks Heroes of the Night, definitely checking that one out, Hotel Transylvania Scary Tale Adventures, Lawn Mowing Simulator Landmark Edition, Spellforce 3 Reforced, Midnight Fight Express, great game by the way. And then for premium, we have Medieval Resurrection, another amazing game on PSP. Ape Escape on the Loose, another great PSP game. And Pursuit Force Extreme Justice, once again, a great PSP game. Unfortunately, we haven't seen many PS2 games coming to the service. I'd really like to see some of those classics from that time get put in there. Like, how about the original Sly Cooper games, and Ratchet and Clank, and Jak and Daxter? I know it's available through PS3 streaming, but let's be honest, that's garbage. Actually, no, now that I think about it, Jack and Daxter actually is already on there. But, yeah, like Ratchet and Clank and Sly Cooper, like, I'd love to see those get added, and a bunch of other classics. And for our next story, I'm sure you guys are familiar with Nintendo Directs, right? Well, Devolver decided to hold their own type of quote-unquote Direct. This was a Devolver delayed. So, basically, it was just like a 3-minute presentation. You're seeing it on your screen right now, but they announced a couple of games that are being delayed until 2024. Those being Angerfoot, Pepper Grinder, The Plucky Squire, Stick It to the Stickman, and Skate Story. All of these games actually look fantastic from the trailers, so I'll definitely be checking those out. You know, I've been loving the quality of indie games that have been coming out lately, and that's what these are, essentially, just like a bunch of like indie games, smaller scope games, and yeah, these look absolutely fantastic. I mistook a couple of these for being more of like, you know, higher budget, potentially even AAA. Like, these look absolutely amazing, so I'll definitely be checking these out in 2024 once they do release. And for our last story, we have a recap of the Pokemon Presents showcase that happened just a couple of days ago, so we're just gonna go through and kind of just list off everything that happened. First off, the 2023 Pokemon Championships was detailed. Pokemon Path to the Peak, an animated series that's going to be coming out. We got a first look at that. And then we got a new trailer for Detective Pikachu Returns. Pokemon Go Fest 2023, we had some details about that event there. Pokemon Go is going to be adding the Paldea region Pokemon in September. We got some details on the Pokemon Unite 2nd anniversary event. We also got some details on the Pokemon Masters EX 4th anniversary event. And then we got some more, a lot of details about events, but we got some details about the Pokemon Cafe Remix event. After that, they announced that Pokemon the Trading Card Game and Pokemon Stadium 2 were going to NSO, which we already covered. Then we got some details about a Pokemon Sleep event. If you guys play that, is that what it's called? Do you really even play that game technically? We also got our first look at the Pokemon Paldean Winds animated series, which this one looks really good. Both the animated series actually look fantastic. We also got a look at the Get Mew and Mewtwo events for Scarlet and Violet. And then we also finally got a release date for the first DLC, or the first part of the DLC, that being the Hidden Treasure of Area Zero, Part 1, the Teal Mask, coming September 13th, 2023. All in all, it was a pretty solid showcase. I sat down, watched it. I was like, yeah, that was a decent showcase. I don't know. There was a lot of like mobile game type stuff, so I was kind of like, yeah, you know, it is what it is. I know some people were disappointed online. There were some folks that were hoping to maybe hear about a new game here, but nah, yeah, it wasn't nothing like that. Just some DLCs and some other stuff. Like I said, all around, it was a pretty decent showcase, and I hate to poke fun and, you know, kind of jab at the Pokemon Company and Game Freak and such, but let's hope that the DLC for Scarlet and Violet comes out in a bit of a better condition than the base game did. But anyways, that's all the stories I got for you guys this week. Now I'd definitely love to hear from you guys. What are your thoughts on everything we talked about? Whether it's the Red Dead Redemption port, Modern Warfare 3 coming out in just a couple of months, or the Pokemon Presents showcase. Whatever it is, whatever you're thinking, I'd definitely love to hear from you guys. But anyway, this is Weekly GCap. New episodes go live every single Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern, so if you want to catch them as soon as they go live, well, then I know to be here. But anyways, that's it for me, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Have an amazing day and an amazing weekend. Stay beautiful. I love you all. Peace.